Let's talk about fibroids. Did you know up to 77% of women will experience uterine fibroids during their childbearing years? And honestly, most of the time, it goes completely undiagnosed. We just suffer in silence and nobody can figure out what's going on. I personally have had to deal with that, and I'm telling you, these are the symptoms that I've experienced with uterine fibroids. Severe, debilitating, in a fetal position on the bathroom floor, cramps, nausea, bladder pressure, severe bloating and fatigue, brain fog, breast tenderness, mood all across the board, and just really excruciating pain. If you have experienced any of those symptoms during your cycle, or if you've had to take a day off of work or school just from being on your period, this video is for you. Please watch to the end because I'm sharing some things that have specifically helped me to heal my fibroid symptoms. And I'm not a licensed medical professional, but I've done a lot of research on this, and I just want to share some things that have helped me in case it can help someone else. Welcome back to Organic Essentials. Let's get into it. Number one is leveling out my glucose spikes. This is huge to reduce your glucose spikes, and one way you can do it is when you have a meal, always eating your protein, your fiber, and your healthy fats before you eat anything really carby or sugary. And also, for me, it was completely cutting out, for the most part, cutting out sugar. I don't even buy sugar. I don't cook with sugar anymore. We use other sweeteners such as honey, natural sweeteners, reducing those glucose spikes. Something specifically that did help me was reading Glucose Revolution by Glucose Goddess. That's something you might want to check out, but she talks a lot about how to put clothes on your carbs, which is before you eat your carbs, reducing that glucose spike so that your body is not absorbing the glucose as fast, because it's absorbing it takes longer to absorb the fiber and the protein first. So that's the thing. It's like on your plate, just rearranging the order that you eat foods. For me, that has been helpful. Also, getting lab work done, specifically checking your A1C levels. That's something that is really helpful. I learned that while I'm not pre-diabetic, if you are pre-diabetic, or say your A1C is a bit on the higher end, glucose is spiking a bit more than you want it to. So that's something to just keep in mind, the order in which you eat your food and not doing super carby things. I feel like I typically will cook relatively lower carb, not super low carb, but I will do complex carbs, potatoes, quinoa, beans, lentils, things like that. I prioritize because all of those also have fiber. So you actually don't have to completely cut out your sweets. I know something I like to do is end the night with, after dinner with a little bit of something sweet, but instead of cookies or anything like that all the time, it's I like fruit. I like dark chocolate, things like that. You could put together a yogurt bowl and add some nuts for some crunch, some dark chocolate. And if you are gonna have a cookie or something, ideally, if you can make it yourself, that way there's not a lot of just extra sugars and processed foods in there. I'll make it myself and I don't mind doing that. But also the key is to eat it after you've had your meal that has a lot of fiber and protein, because the thing is, our bodies process fiber and protein a lot slower than it'll process the glucose. So if you're having something really sweet first thing on an empty stomach, your glucose is gonna spike up, it's gonna shoot up. But you wanna slow down that spike. So it's eating your fiber, your healthy fats, whatever you have for that meal. And then if you're gonna have something sweet, have it at the end after that meal. And ideally, adding some fiber to go with it, such as, or some protein. So nuts or, fruit obviously already has fiber in it, so it's gonna digest it a little bit slower than just sugar straight to the veins. So that's a change that I've made that's been really helpful. So perfect segue into number two, which is making your lifestyle eating whole food, a whole food diet. or as we like to say at Morganic Essentials, real food recipes. That's right. So if you need some ideas for some real food recipes, stick around and watch some of these videos on the channel, because that is what I'm all about, is sharing how to cook with whole foods. A lot of it that helped me do this was cooking more of my food and eating out and getting takeout a lot less, to the point where we rarely do it at all. It does take a little bit more time, but it is so worth it, because honestly, you'll see how much easier it is to eat whole food and less simple carbs when you're cooking it yourself. So, we kind of mentioned some examples earlier, but, swapping out those simple carbs, for me, swapping out, rice, a lot of like sugar, kind of swapping those, say like with beans, lentils, quinoa, sourdough bread is good, fermented foods. The options are endless. It's just real food, just like get it in its whole form, and then you can do whatever you want with it. You can cook it, you can eat it raw, all kinds of things. You do not have to go vegan to heal your fibroids. I promise you. So this is something that I really want to share, because I've seen some things out there. And again, everyone is different. What works for somebody else may or may not work for you. I think the biggest misconception about eating red meat or eating meat with fibroids is I think people are missing the type of meat that's best to eat. So if you're just eating conventional red meat that's like pumped up with hormones and like added flavorings and colorings and things like that, like no, it's going to be horrible for your body, because we don't metabolize that very well, and it's going to help the fibroids grow because it's increasing inflammation. What we want to do with whole foods is decrease the inflammation. That's the whole point, right? And you don't have to lack flavor. You don't have to cut out meat. So if you are going to eat meat, you want to prioritize grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken and lamb, organic as much as possible. If you can't do all organic vegetables, please try your best to do organic meats, or support your local farms and get it from there. And local farms are always really transparent for the most part. So like you can ask like what are their practices and whatnot. You don't want any extra hormones being pumped into your meat. That's the biggest issue, because a lot of times with fibroids, we have estrogen dominance a lot of times. So it's like, how do we balance out our hormones and balance out our estrogen so it's not out of whack? And if you're eating conventional meat that is pumped with extra estrogen to make the chicken breasts larger and things like that, like it's gonna eventually increase inflammation and cause the fibroids to grow. So if you are gonna eat meat, absolutely eat meat. It's great protein, great nutrition, and really beneficial for our bodies and reducing inflammation if you eat the right types of meat. So like we said, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken, and eggs. And then sardines are very good too. So anything like with lots of protein and fatty, so like tuna, sardines, wild-caught fish, okay? Things like that are gonna help reduce that inflammation. And it is really, really important to stick to those specific types of meats if you are going to do meat. That way you can eat meat and feel great and not contribute to the growth of your fibroids. So another good point to bring up also is what you're cooking your meat or vegetables in. So as we're talking about reducing inflammation, you want anti-inflammatory cooking oils. So that's gonna be extra virgin olive oil, that can be coconut oil, that can be pure grass-fed animal fat from the meat that you're cooking. But those are gonna be not inflammatory, a lot less inflammatory than say like, some highly processed oils such as your canola oils, vegetable oils, grapeseed oil, anything heavily processed. Literally, there are machine part lubricants that they add to dissolve and extract the oil, and then they deodorize it. There's a lot of things they do to it that's so unnatural, to the point that the oil you're left with is not nutritious at all and actually increases inflammation. You don't want your oil to have been oxidized and spoiling and deodorized and separated with other chemical solvents. You don't want that. You want it to be as pure as possible. Olive oil, extra virgin olive oil is very natural to the body and very easy to digest. That's my favorite. Avocado oil is great too. Just make sure you're checking, make sure it's a good quality olive oil and avocado oil, coconut oil, again, or you could use the animal fats that, from the meat that you're cooking. But those are just some good options that I've switched to that I've noticed have made a difference. All right, number 3, supplement cycling. So there are some very specific supplements that I take that I will start a few days before my period. Actually, the week leading up to my period, there are specific supplements that I will take. There's also supplements that I take daily. I'm gonna get into what those are and when I take them, when's the best time to take them. I'm gonna use my notes for this because I don't wanna miss anything. Oh my God, life-changing. So chasteberry, look up chasteberry. It's also called Vitex berry. This has changed my life. Taking chasteberry daily, it's all natural, it's an herb, and it helps the body regulate hormones. So if you happen to have estrogen dominance, it helps to raise progesterone naturally and balance out the hormones. And it does take a while to kick in. It's like a supplement you wanna get in the habit of taking daily, or at least that worked for me. I like the tincture form versus the capsule. You could do either, but for me, the tincture form seemed most helpful. I tried both, and that's something I take a dose daily. Life-changing, okay? It took, again, probably about 3 months for me to notice a huge difference, which is pretty normal, but immediately started noticing little differences as you take it daily. So DIM, D-I-M, this is an extract from cruciferous vegetables that helps to reduce excess estrogen. How it works is it just really helps liver function. So your liver is processing out like excessive estrogen. So it just helps to help the liver function and do its job, and to, in turn, help balance those hormones. DIM is something that I don't take every single day. I'll start taking it a week before my cycle every day during my follicular phase of the cycle. And then when I, start my period, I don't need to take it. And then the next cycle during the follicular phase, I will start taking DIM again. EGCG, literally EGCG. That is an extract of green tea. It is also very helpful in general, reducing inflammation in the entire body. So it's fantastic for that. It's fantastic not just for fibroids, but for a lot of things. Highly recommend EGCG. Yes, you can get it from drinking pure matcha as well, or pure green tea, but you're not gonna get as much from it just from drinking the tea. The tea is good, you can still drink the tea, but this is that specific extract from it, and it's concentrated, and it just so good for the body, especially for fibroids, because as we know, fibroids grow and multiply with inflammation. So we want to reduce our inflammation. EGCG is great, and especially at targeting those fibroid symptoms. So EGCG is something that I will also take during my follicular phase. I noticed I'm a bit sensitive to taking DIM and EGCG in the same day. Don't know what that's about, but I will cycle them. So during my follicular phase, every other day, I will take DIM, and then the days I don't take DIM, I will take EGCG. Boom. And I also drink matcha tea, which, pull my leg, like, I like matcha, so that's not hard to do. So the week before my period, there is a blend. Different brands make this type of blend. Find one that works for you. I found one from my local herb shop, but this particular tincture blend, I will take it every day for the entire week before my period, and it is a mixture of chasteberry, raspberry leaf extract, red raspberry leaf, dandelion root, and I believe dong quai is in there as well. So this is a blend, it's a specific PMS blend, right? Helps so much with those PMS symptoms leading up to my period. So that also has been life-changing, like night and day, night and day. I've tried a couple different brands, and honestly, some work better than others. What worked best for me was literally the one made from my local herb shop. So check around, see if you have a local herb shop that makes blends like that, or if not, you can just order some online. Lots of them exist, really, really worth investing in and trying. So that's daily during PMS week, right? Then on my actual period, I don't need to take that during that, but we're talking about cycling. So I'm trying to give you the timeline of when I'm taking these supplements that help me. So let's talk about daily supplements. So I talked about chasteberry, which I'll take daily. And then in my PMS blend, chasteberry is included in that, right? So just daily in general, magnesium glycinate, fan-freaking-tastic when it comes to helping your body relax and get restful sleep. The more rested your body is, the less inflamed you're gonna feel. So that helps. It's all connected. How we eat, how much sleep we get, like quality sleep, you know what I mean? So magnesium glycinate is great. Omega-3s, fantastic. I take those daily and I've noticed a difference. It's been very, very helpful with reducing the period pain. And, you know, fatigue, things like that. Has a lot of other benefits outside of fibroids, but omega-3s are fantastic. You can find those in fish. So if you eat sardines or tuna or salmon, you know, types of fish, wild caught fish, that has omega-3s in it naturally, so you can eat that. Beef liver supplements, that's something else I wanted to mention. Actually, throughout my period, I will take beef liver supplements and or actually eat beef liver. I like the taste of liver. I don't mind cooking it. I like pate. So, you know, I've done that before too, or I'll just cook it like a steak in some grass-fed butter. Fantastic. Lots of vitamin A, lots of iron, lots of protein that the body just really, really needs and craves at that time. The specific type of iron we need, heme iron. You don't necessarily need to take, I wouldn't recommend taking an iron pill unless you absolutely need it. If you're anemic, do what your doctor says, absolutely. For me, while I did experience some heavy, very heavy bleeding at a time, I noticed a lot of low energy, but it wasn't to the point where I was like actually anemic. So thankfully that worked out. But I do cook on cast iron skillets, so that, and I do eat red meat. So I eat grass-fed beef pretty often and beef liver. And during my period, I will take beef liver supplements. So that I'm sure helps me to not become anemic. And now my flows are a lot more calm, not as heavy. It'll be heavy like day 1.5 and then it's chill. Whereas it used to be heavy for like 4 days straight. Honestly, probably one of the most important I would say is vitamin D, specifically vitamin D3 and K2 together. I don't know if you know this, but melanated women are most likely to experience uterine fibroids, specifically due to how our bodies process vitamin D. So with melanin, it's harder to receive enough vitamin D that we need from the sun. So even if you spend a lot of time in the sun, which you totally should spend a good bit of time in the sun if you can, you know, just naturally, it's harder to receive that through our skin. So we need to add in supplements. I was vitamin D deficient for a long time and didn't know it until like one doctor at some point happened to test for it and was like, oh yeah, duh, you're deficient. I'm like, thanks. Like that makes so much sense why I'm like tired all the time. So, and it also helps a lot with, it helped me with my cramps and literally all of the symptoms. Once I started taking vitamin D supplements, D3 with the K2. The K2 helps your body process the vitamin D the correct way so that it doesn't just like calcify in your veins or, you know, body. So you want to take, typically supplements will have D3 and K2 together already in it, which is great. Also, when you're taking vitamin D3, you want to make sure you take it with something fatty. So like with a meal, don't take it on an empty stomach because you're not going to be able to absorb the benefits from it as much. That's something I didn't know for a while. Also, magnesium glycinate helps the body metabolize vitamin D as well. Things I didn't know, again, till like the last couple of years. And once I started changing the way and when I take my vitamins and what I take my vitamins with, night and day, huge difference. So I will take my vitamin D with dinner or after dinner, along with my magnesium glycinate. I take those together because they work the best together. And you're gonna get the best night's sleep. Vitamin D also helps, it's great for helping regulate the hormones and also getting restful sleep. So I don't know if you experience anxiety or anything else also as a PMS symptom, but in general, with the cramps, with the sleeping, the irritability, with all of the above, make sure you're getting enough D3 and like check, you know, like labs are great. So we talked about checking your A1C earlier. Also, make sure you get your vitamin D and iron levels checked because, girl, you might be anemic, you might be low in vitamin D and not even know it. So very helpful things that I have learned that have made a difference. Number 4, we are gonna talk about managing our severe period cramp pain. Let me tell you something else that has been life-changing for me. As a fibroids girl, before I even knew I had fibroids, I was having these symptoms, and like many people, I would take, you know, ibuprofen multiple days in a row because I was in a lot of pain. Like literally I could not function without taking like 2 ibuprofen and starting the day that way. I'm so happy to tell you now, I don't take it anymore for period cramps. Like it's generally never that serious unless if I get out of whack, say if I've tested this theory out before and noticed the difference of like a day or 2 before my period. If I drink alcohol, if I eat a lot of sweets, if I don't get a good night's rest, my cramps are gonna be absolutely the worst. But if I do these things and stay consistent, it's so manageable and I don't even need to take painkillers at all. I take cramp bark. Like I said, find your local herb shop or order this online. It's literally just called cramp bark. It is an herb, a natural herb. I prefer the tincture form. Okay, you can make it into a tea, you can take the capsules. I prefer tincture because it works so fast. Take a dropper full in an ounce of water 3 to 4 times throughout the day, as soon as you start cramping, along with red raspberry leaf tea or tincture or supplement. I kid you not, your cramps will be gone. My cramps were gone, and I was having debilitating fetal position cramps, like can't function cramps. I'm so serious. Changed my life. I don't go anywhere. If I'm going out of town, I travel with it. If I know I'm gonna be on my cycle. Cramp bark specifically for pain management. Red raspberry leaf tea, I like the tea, but drinking it every day, the week before my period and throughout my period, also helps with the cramps. And what red raspberry leaf does is it strengthens and tones the uterus. So it helps your body to be able to be strong enough, basically your uterus to be strong enough to manage the contractions of your cramps. Fan-freaking-tastic. Don't go anywhere without those 2 supplements for pain management. Oh, hydration. Super important. Whenever I'm dehydrated, I have the worst cramps. And speaking of labs, something I learned that I didn't know, I was often dehydrated and not getting enough sodium. So that's something to be mindful of during my period. Obviously, you're losing a lot of electrolytes through your blood. So you wanna make sure you're properly hydrating back. Oh my God, especially if you happen to be working out and sweating, you know, during your cycle as well, on top of losing fluids through your blood. You want to be drinking coconut water, unsweetened organic coconut water. There are also, you know, some like sugar-free, natural-based electrolyte powders if you need extra boost to add to your water and drink it all day. You can add Redmond's sea salt, you know, the very mineralized sea salt to your water with some lemon, and you know, have a banana or a sweet potato, things like that, so you make sure you're getting your potassium, your sodium and calcium, everything all together. You need your electrolytes, especially that time of the month, every single month. Cramps are much worse when you're dehydrated. So just a little recap. You want your electrolytes, you want cramp bark, and you want red raspberry leaf. Last but not least, number 5. High key, the simplest change that's like most important. It is cutting the cold liquids. Not forever, just during your PMS week into your actual period, throughout your luteal phase, especially when you're on your period. Whatever beverages you like to drink ice cold, just do room temp, do warm. This is the time to be drinking your hot teas, your broths, your bone broths, things like that, because we want to feed our body and reduce we want to relax our muscles, right? When we're so tense and tight, and if you think about it, when you're cold, what do? You contract, you tense up. That's what our uterus is doing. That's what our muscles are doing. Our uterus is doing it anyway as we're contracting and shedding our uterine lining during our period. So anything cold, if you're continuously being physically cold and like drinking and eating really cold things, this is something that's practiced in traditional Chinese medicine as well, that I learned this from. But when you're bringing coldness to your body, it's a lot harder for your muscles to relax. So you're gonna be in a constant state of contraction and pain. I didn't notice it till I started actually trying this. I'm like, let me actually try consistently, not just like, you know, it's multiple times a day drinking warm liquids. I will fill up my 40-ounce tumbler with like warm lemon water with some sea salt and drink that, you know, throughout the day and start my day with something warm. One, it's great for if you have any issue going to the bathroom, you won't. Muscles are relaxed, everything is relaxed. And it does help with your period cramps, honestly. Anything ice cold, it's just gonna create tightness. And that's the opposite of what we wanna do during this time. Relaxing warmth, bone broth, soups. Great time to eat and make soups. Check out some of the, you know, we have some soup recipes on this channel. But yeah, all the warm things, now is the time to reintroduce warmth into your body, especially all day, nothing ice cold. That's it. Those are my top 5 things that I have done that have completely changed my life and significantly reduced my fibroid symptoms to the point where I don't take painkillers for my fibroid and period cramps anymore. Things are a lot more relaxed when I'm consistently doing these things in the order in which I do them that I'm sharing with you today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out some of the other videos on our channel. Eat well, be well, and I will see you next time.